Never thirsty. Never thirsty. Now let's talk about, speaking of people who can rap, I want to get into your career here while we've got you here. And we're going to have to do this again, man, because there's obviously, we're just scratching the surface. And I do feel like there's so much we could talk about. But I want to highlight one thing specifically. There is a guy that sort of qualifies for huge, big as it gets, and a guy who reached the absolute top of the mountain. And when he came out, and we've talked about it on previous episodes, my first time hearing this artist rap was in a battle rap type of scenario. He wasn't battling someone specifically, he was battling the whole world. And I'm talking about 50 Cent, How to Rob. I remember hearing that song and being like, who is this? Like, holy, this guy's great. Then obviously the album comes out, and there you go. There's the plaque right there. You are part of that. You are part of the launching pad that changed hip hop. That's second, third, fourth time, whatever. It's hard to quantify the numbers here, but 50 Cent changed the world as we know it when he came out. And you were a part of that from the beginning, including the very beginning of the album. So tell us, how did that come about, and how excited to be a part of it at that point?
At the time I was working for Atlantic Records. I was doing A&R, and I heard about 50 before he got shot and everything, when he was on Columbia, because it was a Trackmasters thing. Tone and Poke and some of the guys they had under them, and I was cool with one of these guys, producer named Kurt Gowdy, and he had done a record for Fat Joe Terror Squad, and he came up to my office one day and he was telling me, he's like, yo, they got this guy, man. He's the sickest rapper I've ever heard. I heard about him because originally he was signed to Jam Master Jay.
That's what I was gonna say. Wasn't Jam Master Jay the guy that sort of took him under?
Yeah. And where Jay came from, where 50 came from, Onyx, Lost Boys, all these guys was South Jamaica, Queens, and South Jamaica was rough, still rough,
Is that where the Mets play?
No, it's there. It's further out, and it's notorious for a lot of the activities that took place out there. Stick up dudes, drugs, whatever, right? They all came from that, and I remember, and Gowdy was from Queens too, and he was telling me how they were in a studio. Trackmasters had rented this studio in upstate New York, in Bearsville, New York, and they were just bringing up all their artists to just record and work sort of in a place to really focus and be out of the city and out of the way of distractions and everything. And he was telling me, he's like, man, this guy 50 is running circles around everybody up there, like, just knocking out songs, just, like bang, 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 and so you started to hear about him, and then obviously, you heard about the shooting and everything, and like he was not about what his life and what he was talking about and living. And I just remember I remember reading a XXL interview with him, like soon after he got shot, and just the way he was talking, I was just like, yo, he's hilarious, man. He doesn't give a. And long story short, he was working with a guy named Sha Money at the time, who also from Queens, and he was starting to buzz from How to Rob and everything, but then he got dropped.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
People were scared.
How to
and
Rob
also,
at
the time,
from this guy for a couple of years. It's like there was a little bit of a break between How to Rob and him popping off.
That's because part of it was, there was just like this, like people didn't know or understand and hadn't heard the records and thought How to Rob was a gimmick record. And I think at that point, that's when Ja was and Murder Inc. were at the top of their game. You know, hit after hit after hit. Everybody's trying to sweat them and work with them, and their little beef started.
What was that beef over? Like, how did that? I mean, I know that they have beef, and obviously we've
I mean, they again that's some
what did it
Queens
start over? Say what?
That's some like neighborhood, really.
Oh, really? So it just goes back like that, like
yeah,
like some specific.
Giles from Queens, so
like, yo, we know each other coming up. This guy's a
yeah,
jerk. This guy's a jerk.
And so he was the villain. He was the outlaw, and he embraced it.
50
was.
Yeah,
like he embraced it. He didn't give a. Right. And I wanted to sign him, and I tried to sign him. I had a meeting with him, and you know, it just it didn't work out, but the connection was made, and Sha knew that I was making music too, and I had done the Bad Meets Evil, Royce Eminem stuff,
yep.
and a couple other things like indie records,
Yeah, and, but also, I mean, you talk about MCs, like there's 3 that you just listed up. You're 3. Like a magnet for like the best rappers.
And so long story short, gave Sha a beat CD, got a call, a few days later, and he was just like, yo, he likes this joint, and he sent me a version of it, and I was just like, what? Like, and it is buried away in storage somewhere.
Never thirsty. Never thirsty.